Hey everybody, what's up? We are live again on another episode of Elijah Speaks. It's back to back, and I've got a special guest today. Her name is Thatie. You're going to hear a story that is very inspiring. I hope everybody is going to tune in. So, Thatie, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you. How are you doing?
Thank you for welcoming me. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, can you just tell my audience where you're tuning in from so that they can just know a little bit about you?
I'm joining in on Elijahspeaks show from Lobatse, Botswana. That is an area on the southernmost area, part of Botswana, closer to South Africa.
Oh, awesome. So, I hope Botswana is in the building and South Africa is in the building. Are we going to speak a little bit of Siswana too? To just cater to certain audience, or we're just going to be doing English?
We are going to be doing English. If anyone
Okay. Hey,
requests.
I, I can still speak Siswana. Dumelama. Retain. Yeah, this is not the first time I'm meeting Dr. Thatie. Actually, we have got a great history. I've known her for over 15 or 16 years because a long time ago we once lived in the same town of Selebe Pikwe in Botswana. And for me, it's very important that I bring her to the show because our story is very compelling, inspiring, and encouraging. So, here's my first question, Doc. Who is Thatie?
My full names are Thatie Matokotse. I'm a medical doctor who graduated in 2014. I'm 32 years old. I'm a mother of one. Currently, I'm practicing full-time as a general medical doctor in the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Botswana.
Oh, awesome. So very young and still going, huh? So,
Yeah.
Doc, being a doctor is just something people don't wake up and say, I'm going to be a doctor because it's one of the difficult paths to navigate and to actually achieve. So, I want to take you back to your childhood. How was it like growing up, and where did you grow up from?
As you mentioned earlier, I grew up in Selebe Pikwe, which is a mining town, but I was growing up in an area called Botshabelo, which is it's like where people with a poor background stay. A lot of humble beginnings. I'm coming from a humble background. So did you ask how it was growing up?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, growing up was not easy. I just thank God I was smart enough to be able to navigate the challenges. I grew up in Botshabelo with no running water, no electricity, no access to modern technology. Obviously it means when you have to, for you to read, you had to use a paraffin lamp or a candle, cooking using firewood, obviously going to the forest to go and gather the firewood so that for the coming week, preparing for school. So it was not easy. It was not easy at all.
So there was even no access to electricity or water.
In my place, no, I did not have access at our home. It was not connected, so we had to collect water from a standpipe, which the council had distributed around the settlement area. Electricity, there was just street lights and that whole big tower lamp. But otherwise, when you have to study, you had to use a lamp, a paraffin lamp indoors.
For real? So that was your life even when you went to like primary school, when you went to the
Throughout.
secondary school, throughout? Wow. Did you go to a primary school in Usabelo or?
I did standard 1 to standard 7 in Bitoko Primary School, which is not far from my place. I walked to school. It was just like 2 minutes walk. And then the secondary school, I went to Mujamuraho, which was towards the back of Botswana. I also walked to school. It was I can say 15 minutes walk. And then secondary school, we had to go to a senior school called SPSS from 4 to Form 5. But
SPS is the one that is very far away. Like you had
industrial.
Hey, from Usavela to that school, it was almost 30 minutes of a car ride. So you guys just use combis to go to school?
Yes.
How long did it take you?
Because in the mornings, usually it depended on the time. Obviously, I was a disciplined one, so I would go with the earlier ones. So I think it was around an hour, because they would go around picking other students closer to their homes. So I can say an hour.
So Lebepeque was a mine town. Of course, there were a lot of people, money. There were miners, engineers, doctors who were doing very well for themselves. Then you were on the other side. How did that impact your perspective?
I when I was growing up, there was in my neighborhood, people were not really doing well. Like the immediate neighborhood, not the general, because even in Botswana we have a lot more doctors, a lot more engineers, but in my immediate neighborhood, the people were not doing well. You know, teenage pregnancy, people were going to prison. So there was not much of a motivation, but I think late in primary school or earlier in junior school, around when I was 14, I started joining the church. So I think that's where I got to meet more people who were more inspiring from different countries.
Oh, okay. So your exposure to dreaming big came from your proximity with people who were from different countries? Is that how you started dreaming big? Okay. So basically, the reason why your story is so important is you literally come from nothing. You were around the environment which was disadvantaged. It didn't inspire hope. If anything, whether you looked to your neighbors, you saw the same circumstances. Yet you ended up pushing through and going to the med school. You ended up going to the med school. So, for you, when you're a child, when you're still going through primary school and secondary school, did you always want to be a doctor, or what did you aspire to be?
When I was in primary school in 13 years, I went for a surgery at one of the referral hospitals, and there was this other doctor, a young man, and he was very nice to me. So I believe, even though it was not, I can't really remember if he inspired me, but the way he treated me at the time, I can't remember his name, unfortunately. I think it just intrigued me because he was putting a cannula, and it really interested me. And the surgery I was doing, I was not under sedation. So I think that's where the dream of becoming a doctor was born. But because of lack of motivation and that I didn't know people, I feel it was not as strong. I don't know if you get my point. I was just a disciplined student who my life was basically school, church, home, school, church, home. So I just buried myself in books so that I pass everything, and then I would have options after. So I didn't know earlier if I wanted to become a doctor. But when I was asked what I wanted to do at university, I straight away chose up pre-medical sciences. I didn't choose anything else.
So during the years when you're a kid growing up in Usawelo, how was your academic performance? Were you doing good in
I
school?
didn't go to pre-medical school, not pre-medical, preschool. I didn't do kindergarten.
Okay.
When I
Yeah,
started
yeah.
standard 1, I didn't know how to write my name. I didn't know any alphabets. I didn't know any colors. I remember my neighbor. They were from the father used to work in the mine, so she used to go to kindergarten before the father died. So I remember the brothers would tease me that I didn't know how to write my name. That was when I was 6 years old, 5. So at 7 years, I then started school. It's vivid, like my memory, if my memory serves me right, the first term I was position number 7. Like I learned everything at school. Even my
Wow.
siblings didn't teach me anything. That was the first and the last time I was ever in a position 7. And then the rest of the times it was either number 1 or number 2 in my classes, from primary up to senior school.
Wow. So there's just a gift you were born with then, because it's not like anybody prepared you for N school. So when did you, throughout the process from standard 1 up to standard 5, when did you know that I really want to become a doctor? When was that moment?
Like I say, I was not sure. I just had engineers inspiring me, doctors. I just knew that I wanted to go to university because I would see people visiting over the holidays who were at university. But after Form 5, when I was asked what I wanted to do, that's when I picked being
Okay.
a doctor.
Okay, so you
But
picked being a doctor.
it never
Okay.
really came to me naturally before, because I didn't have any access to TV, by the way, if I can tell you that. I didn't have a phone, I
Oh,
didn't have
really?
television. Yes,
Oh,
there was no
really?
television. Yes, I used to entertain myself with when I was doing standard 4, I used to read a lot actually. When I was in standard 4, I remember I used to go to standard 7 classrooms and pick their books, and then I would read those. When I was in Form 1 to Form 3, I would read books, like many books in the library. There was also, a Bible book, children's Bible book. I'll read
Yes.
it, stories of the Bible. If I didn't have anything to read, I'll read them like, it's a novel, like the Old Testament.
Yes.
So there was no TV. It was just listening to RB1. So there was less
So
inspiration.
basically, you grew up without running water, without electricity, without TV, yet you only had dreams, and education was your pathway to getting out of Usabelo and establish something for yourself. Then after that, I know you had to go. Is it to Trinidad? Where did you go first? You went to University of Botswana, right? And you did
Yes,
your
sure.
bachelor's.
Yes.
Okay, how was it after you finished your secondary school? How was that journey?
I think when I had when I was in Botswana, I had accepted my situation so much that I was not aware that I was lacking anything. And I think that
What
was
do you
also
mean? What do you mean? Can you highlight more?
I mean I had accepted my situation, that I was not envious of other things. You get my point, when I was in Botswana. So when I reached the University of Botswana, that's when I realized that so I've been lacking this and this and this.
Did you realize that there's electricity and TV on?
No, obviously, we used to go to church. We used to no
Yes,
electricity, all
yes.
those things.
But
I would see
but
them.
it's
And
exposed you to another level of life.
yes, that I was
Okay.
never exposed to. Yes,
Okay.
that's what I mean. I
And,
think it
and
kind of helped.
it helped. And how old were you when you had the different perspective? How old were you?
18.
18?
Mm.
Wow.
18.
So, okay. So tell me a little bit how your journey was at the University of Botswana.
So when we arrived at the University of Botswana, now we are in a city, and I'm from Botshabelo. I'm from a school that is far from the city. Now we are meeting a whole different group of people from the ones that I was there. So the ones I knew before. I can tell you that I might be confident now, but I really never
Mm.
used to be confident. I didn't have a lot of friends as well when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I say, I started going to church very earlier in my life. My family,
Mm-hmm.
the whole family was not going to church. So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
say my life was just church, books, and all that. So when I got to University of Botswana, I was picked to go straight into a pre-medical class. So there were only two classes of 30, so we were around 60. So now it was a competition as to who will pass, and like who's going to pass, who will achieve more, a higher
Mm-hmm.
GPA, and who will go to Australia. It was going to determine that who goes to South Africa, all those things. So it was hard. So the freedom, and I was given an allowance. I had to, when you're away from the family now, you have to have friends now. But I was lucky
Yes.
to meet I actually became friends with someone I was in class with in standard 1 when we were 7.
Okay.
So it was hard to incorporate other people because we then became this group of people who were always together. So
Okay.
we were in the city, but our mentality was of the people who know. Because it was very hard to put other people in. I think it was the issue of confidence and low self-esteem. But those
Okay.
people we were taught to be in group works with. You get my point. So I
Yes.
feel
Yes.
if maybe I was not coming from, I'm sorry about that. I was not coming
No,
from
it's fine.
if I was not coming from Botshabelo, I don't know. I could have done more in that. My confidence was a big issue, because for you to do, when you are you would be
Mm-hmm.
disciplined to pass, but you also need the confidence. I don't know if you get my point.
No, I get your point. So confidence was part of the key in your pursuit of your journey and becoming successful
Discipline.
than discipline. Okay, so you did how many years at University of Botswana?
Only 2 years.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
We then applied to the government actually was placing us. We were placed in St. George's University, which
Where
is
is that?
it is actually an American medical school. It's called an offshore American medical school.
Oh, okay. Where
So
is it located at?
it's in Grenada, West Indies. So Grenada is like so if you look at them, you can't really see it. If you look at the map, it's between that area of Brazil, just below Florida, in the middle there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so what we do is the school is actually, the offices are actually based in America, in New York, but it's like the American students, they go outside and they go and study in that school. And then after 2 years, they go back into America for clinical exposure and practice. So more than 80% of the classmates were Americans and predominantly
okay.
white. Predominantly
Okay.
white Americans.
So from Busabelo to Gaborone, now you're in near almost Florida. What country is it? Is it an island? You said it's in where?
Grenada.
Grenada. So
yeah.
from Busabelo to Grenada in a medical school with all different foreign students. How did you feel when you reached to that point?
Hi. Now we are the challenges keeps on going up. We are now meeting these people who cannot understand our accent, who, you know, as much as, you know, the some people would say black people look alike. We now meet these people who also kind of look alike, and we complete different culture. You know, we had to now be speaking English 24/7. So I've never. The only time I had roommates who are Botswana was in the first year. The rest of the years, my roommates were all Americans. So now imagine I would speak English in classes, in lecture halls, and then back home, back also at my dorm. So,
Wow.
and also the school was very, very tough. It's a private school, very expensive, very, very tough. A lot of people.
I want you to tell me a little bit about the struggles you went through, because the reason of this story is to tell the fact. And you know, when we look at somebody as a medical doctor, it's very prestigious, and everybody wants to relate to that level of success. But I want you to tell me the reality of the journey, the obstacles, the hardships, the challenges that you went through while you're going through that journey.
Starting from UB, there was a time at UB I actually doubted myself that I would make it to medical school. Yeah, it was
Okay,
tough.
why?
We were. It involved, now you had to study smart. Like, it was not like when we were in Botswana, where there was more support. When you reach university, there's minimal support, and no one to force you to study, like when you're with the parents. So there was actually a time in UB that I doubted that I would go abroad. I thought I had failed.
Why?
But it was tough. People were excelling with a higher GPA, so I was just being average, and sometimes just above average, but most of the time average. And as if that was the toughest, then we went to St. George's. The first year when we arrived, actually the first month after we arrived, we had to write a test, and we were told that our English is not good enough. So we were picked and put in a different English class, and and we were tutored on how to write academic English, you know. So that was a confidence breaker. There were many times where we would deactivate our Facebooks, you know, trying to minimize the distractions, minimal sleep. And this is now, it's medical school. I had to find out what works for me. Does group work for me, or it does not work for me? It was tough. St. George's was very difficult. And we had found that the group before us had failed a lot. So we had bigger shoes. Like, we had to prove that as we are different. So it meant sleepless nights. Like, sometimes we sleep for 4 hours per night. We were, you know, it even brought some illnesses I never thought I had. I didn't know I had issues of food allergies, irritable bowel. So I think some were influenced by stress. There were times I had to go to the doctor for that. When I was in 2011, there was a time when it was at night. So the school is on an island. So it's actually facing the beach. So, you know, when you look in the ocean at night, it's completely dark. There's a time I found myself alone in a lab full of dead bodies, because I had gone to study and I thought I was with other people. And then when I turned, I realized I was the only one there. In the people had gone, and I had not realized that they are not there. You know how as a doctor
What?
you'd be practicing labeling
Yeah.
different nerves and all those things. And the study
Wow.
partners, it was very hard. Because I had to, you know, I'm from Botswana, the confidence is minimal. So, but you have to befriend an American, you have to approach a white
Other
American
people.
guy and say, can we study together, without it seeming like you have other intentions. I don't know if you get my point.
Like you're hitting on him.
Exactly. But your pride, it was not the issue of pride now. You know, we used to stay in the library, and we made friends. We made friends who would look over your stuff when you go back to your room to go and take a nap. For the first time in my life, in 2011, I had a panic attack. Like where I had to go,
Really?
I didn't write an exam, and I had to go to I had to be taken to the university clinic, and they did all tests and
Wow.
everything was normal when I thought I had a heart attack.
Did you wanna come back home?
It's very funny. I never reached that point that I wanted to come back home. I think, you know, my faith. I mean, we've known each other for 15 years. We've gone through, you know, even though we never talked every day, but you know that I was somebody who was very open. Actually, whenever I was feeling tired or sleepy, when I think of my situation in Botswana, it will motivate me to wake up and study.
Study.
Because more than 7 people in my class, they didn't get the medical degree. They didn't finish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the school, I can tell you, I can confidently say I never failed when I was in medical school. They would give you a chance. Like they would tell you, when you write midterm exam and you have not passed, they will call a meeting, like a whole board meeting with big men, the owners of the school, so that you tell them what is your plan. Are you going to drop off that subject and redo it again in the next semester, or you're going to fail
Wow.
it and get an F? An F was a 0. So the grades were A, B, C, F. There was no D, there was no E. A, B, C, F, and C was 70%.
Yeah, that's American standard of grading. The D is fail, and C is 70 and above. If you get
Exactly.
70 and below, then you fail. Wow.
So now, imagine if you get a 69. So now, the time I had a panic attack, I had to drop out of the subject and redo it the following year. But it was the first time I'd done that, and I only delayed with 1 term, and it was I never thought in my life that, because on my terms, it was like a repeat.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
but as you can see, it shows that my mental health and my physical being were affected. You see the situation I had to go through.
I'm pretty sure there are more male doctors than female. Do you what? How did that impact you when it came to a mental status? Because in the society, there are setting standards that people say only a woman or only a man can do this. How did that play out during your studies?
Um, I think I'm thankful that I trained in. Okay, Grenada is the third world country, but the school is a developed school. So
Okay.
there was a lot of it was very diverse. We were meeting West Africans who were on scholarship. As Botswana, our study was 100% grant, so we didn't have issues of money. So you'd meet someone there were so many, there were a lot of females. Okay, many males, but there were so many females. It's only when you come back and you start working that when you realize that the women are not as represented as much as in medical school. But I think, okay, I'm not sure, but there was really no difference. We were all the same.
It never phased you. You didn't even look at that. You just focused on your goal, and that's what matters to you, right?
The discrepancy, like the difference between males and females, it shows more when we are now practicing and we have family things, having kids. That's when you'd see that why females they don't continue practicing as much as males. But in medical school, we were all striving the same way.
Okay. Then which year did you graduate?
I think if you can remember, well, I went for my clinical studies in the UK now.
Yes, yes, I remember. No, I haven't forgotten it. Just for the people who are listening. So I want you to tell us more about that.
So you do basic
that.
science. You do basic sciences in Grenada, and then you go either to UK or US for to finish up. So okay, now I'm done with basic sciences. I have to be, when you are a clinical medicine student, now you are supposed to act more like a doctor. So where do I go? I go to England. So now I'm leaving the Americans. I'm going to meet a different kind of people again. I'm going to Europe.
Yes.
You get my point. So I get there. That side, it was actually harder because I had to be like a doctor more. You get my point? It was every day interacting with patients. So introducing ourselves, cultural barriers, language barriers. And the professors, now we had to work, hand in hand with, it was a close work relationship with the older doctors who were trained in Cambridge, who were trained in Oxford. So the confidence issue still came up, but God is good. Today you'll be less confident. The following morning, it gets better.
Wow.
So I finished in 2014. Now I was in London. I was in Norwich, East England, for a year, and then I went to London, North Middlesex, like Tottenham, North London, for the remaining year. And I finished in 2014, but they gave me my formal degree in 2015. I was supposed to go for graduation in America, but I had already started working that side, so I couldn't go.
Wow. So finally you finished all your studies in 2014. How did it feel the moment you realized that you were done? Looking at your journey from Savella, growing up in a place with no power, electricity, water, no TV, to being a medical doctor. Finally, you arrived. After how many years? Is it 6 or 7?
7.
After 7 years of going through different challenges, panic attacks, studying, confidence issues, finally you graduated. How was that moment for you?
I was so happy. I was so proud of myself.
Tell me about it.
I mean, like I say, a lot of people did not make it. I was so proud of myself. Now my confidence it was back. Now I realized, actually, before I left London, I had landed a job. I used to go to the Google offices. I can say my confidence now was restored. I realized that, if I went through that, sorry, there's never anything that will ever stand in my way. I believe as a doctor now, there's more that is still coming.
But do you know that probably one of the first doctors who came from Savella?
Do I know anyone?
Yeah.
No, when I was growing up, there was this guy. He's in Ireland now. Yeah, he that's the one I know. I think he went to medical school when I was around 4 or 5. That's the only one I remember. But there's more now. There's a lot more after I left. Top
So,
achievers.
so, so would
I think
you look at yourself as a trailblazer? Are people look up to as
yeah, in my
paving a way?
family.
No, not
Mm.
just in your family, even just in
No,
all
in
Savella,
my
because
family, yes, in my family, I'm a trailblazer. In my church, I was a trailblazer in Botswana. In my community, immediate community, I was a trailblazer. Actually, I can tell you that in the junior school, Botswana Junior School that I went to, Mojamarago, I was the only one who achieved
Mhm.
an A in my group. I was the only
Wow,
one. I wanted it to be a
wow.
merit, but when you are studying with, I don't know how to
Yeah,
explain it, but I got an A. I was the only one, like 1A. It was just me.
wow, that's amazing. So Taddy, what is it that separates you from everybody else? Because your story is such a unique story. When I look at you, I don't know you. I think you come from a very nice background. You had all the support, the finances, but the way you told your story, or the way I know you, your background wasn't that rich, yet you made something special out of yourself. What is it that makes you different or unique?
Mm, uh, I think I'm disciplined. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I think I'm a leader. Actually, I like things. I like order. I like order. Actually, being
Okay.
the leadership one, I've been a leader from primary school all through senior school. I was a deputy head girl at some point. I was a prefect. So when you are a leader in other things, you should lead also in classes. You cannot be a leader only in one. I'm the last born actually in a family of 5, but they still rely on my advice. So I'm
So you're just
disciplined,
a natural born leader.
natural born leader. I'm determined. I have, I have a lot of faith in God.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'm actually a nice person. Like I always want the best for people. Like in general, people will tell you, "I'd give you my last money." I'm just that generous. Because of my, I think I like
Yeah.
how I met God earlier in my life. That has
Okay.
always been the pillar of my strength, the pillar of my life.
So,
Yeah.
so faith is part of who you are. Okay. So now you are a doctor. It's official. You are walking into your dream, and you're walking into your destiny. There are a lot of people watching everywhere around the world. There are kids who live in a place that doesn't support their dream. It may seem like having a dream is a crime because the current circumstances doesn't even allow anything. What are kind of word of advice or encouragements that you can give to dreamers out there who are in a circumstances that doesn't help them?
Mm, I would advise them that you know you you use what you have. Your circumstances cannot define where you're going. As long as you have the drive, as long as you are determined. I mean, I had to use a paraffin lamp to study. I never said, oh, there's no electricity, there's no computer, or all my siblings didn't go to tertiary at the time that I went to tertiary. So I can't
Mm.
say there was no one to assist me with my homeworks and then I would just sit back. So
Mm.
I would push my boundaries. I think sometimes you have to know that you have to step on some people. You have to make some people uncomfortable for them to
Mm.
help you. If you just give up
Wow.
early,
Mm.
exactly, because when you have a personality like mine and an attitude like mine, in our African culture, it's perceived differently. They perceive you as the somebody who is pampas, who feel like, they can push their way through anything. But hey, when you have a child and they don't have, or when you are somebody, you are looking for a scholarship, you are looking to start a business, you just have to know that you use what you have. I don't know what, I remember we used to say, God cannot bless you with the BMW if he doesn't realize that. Or God needs to see that you have the faith, the zeal, and the patience to deal with a bigger blessing. So you cannot pray for 5 million when you cannot handle 500. So the little that you have to start small. Anything that doesn't have a journey, like that doesn't have a story, it doesn't last. It's the story that keeps you going every day. It's the story that wakes you up at night. Like I was telling you, there were times when I didn't feel like studying, or I was just out there. So I would go for prayer walks, around campus. And when I come back, then I'll be more revived. And or sometimes I'll take my phone and I'll call my family, and just hearing their struggles, it was motivation enough for me to be different, to set myself apart. So that's small.
Wow. I don't know, you can correct me, but I just feel like most people think success is something that is handed to you. I'm talking about from the culture where we come from. We think sometimes you're gonna just get to a certain place through a miracle, or you're just going to attain something because you got a prophecy. What do you think about that?
I was with you, Elijah. You know the type of church we went to. You know the upbringing and the teachings that we had. It's very difficult for me to listen to anyone talking about quick miracles. There's a cousin that I introduced to church. She laughs because I don't really believe in. I believe prophets are from God. I cannot question that, but anything that you hear, you should take with a pinch of salt. So as Christians, you should have a spirit of discernment. I remember when I used to whenever I left home, we were taught to pray for favor and the people you are going to meet. Exactly. So I feel anyone who comes to you, any situation that comes to you, God gives you deliberately. So even if it's a prophet coming to you and telling you something, you have to ask God, why me? Why should this person say this? What exactly are they what are they implying? You get my point? So I believe the church that we went to, going to church, not only going to church, you can go to church and still be the same, but having a relationship with God, like reading to understand your Bible, like if you have to know that no one reached where there are so many even prosperous people, even network marketers, they don't sleep. All these the scam guys, they don't sleep. They're disciplined. They wake up at night researching how they can scam you. So imagine them, they are working hard to scam you from your hard-earned money, and you think you can just give your money out like that. Even the forex guys, they attend classes, they attend seminars, they invest in that little knowledge that you have. So you need to invest in your knowledge, you need to invest in your faith, you need to invest in your beliefs, you need to invest in your journey. Anything needs hard work. There's no sweet without sweat. That's what Mom used to say.
Everything needs hard work. So you come from the humble beginning, now you're a doctor. That's a shift in the, in Africa we like status. It's a big shift. You're now like doctor, you're viewed in a different way in the society. There's a lot of respect that comes with that title. How do you manage
Mm.
to stay humble?
I think I've always been a humble person. So the status it has not really affected me.
Okay.
I I relate with everyone. I believe everyone is a boss in their own
Mm-hmm.
place. I mean, if you are coming from a family who has never been employed, if you're a security guard, you've made it,
Mm-hmm.
haven't you? You get
You
my
have
point?
made it. I like that. You should highlight more
Yeah.
about that.
Mm. No, I mean
I like that.
every
Mm.
every little blessing. For me, it's a doctor. For another person, is a teacher. For another person, is a nurse. For another person, is a cleaner. You get my point? Those are their blessings, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. There's still more to life. Eh? There's still
Mm-hmm.
more circumstances, more experiences. So you need to understand that these people are where they are because of what they went through. So don't question or don't challenge the works of God. Eh? So my status, yeah, I would downplay it. I like I said, because of the upbringing, I've never really you know I get shy sometimes when you call me Dr. Thatie, and I don't like being
Mm-hmm.
out there. You know, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's because of
Mm-hmm.
the upbringing. I've never really known how to be out there being put up. I always tell someone, or I have a dream that I can be a leader in the society, but I don't think I can make it. I don't like attention that much. I just like
Really?
being in the background. In the background, I would be a leader in my job. Yeah, people will
Mm-hmm.
know me in my job. I don't want extra too much attention. I don't know if I can handle it. It's one of the things
Um,
that make me uncomfortable.
recent, recently, I don't know if it's a few months ago, I think you got a little bit attention from social media or the media. How did that come about? I saw people
Mm.
posting she's a good doctor, she spends time with patients and all that stuff. How did that come about?
You should have asked me privately. Or maybe tell me.
So you don't want to answer that? I can skip.
Yeah, I don't want to answer that yet, but what I can tell you is the action that I took at the time. It was the person he thought of it differently, but I was saying it from the bottom of my heart, so I didn't feel bad, but it was just a little embarrassing.
Okay. Okay. I hear you. Yeah.
No, I'm done.
I hear you.
I answered the
So
question.
you
Eh. You,
Tati,
yeah,
you've got some faith back.
someone.
Yeah, you answered. You answered. So you're a woman of faith. You're a doctor, and you're helping a lot of patients and are impacting lives. But you're
Mm.
also making good money. So which one comes first? Why do people get into your field? Is it the financial aspect of it, or is it the need to impact humanity in a way of helping, or it's both?
People told us, and we thought they were not telling the truth. So, except in South Africa for now. Um, but this is a job, a field that you're constantly studying. I still have to go to school for 5 more years. So, excuse me, for you to do that, you need to be
What to
determined.
do? What?
For you to be a doctor,
You
Like I worked in a village in a primary care for 4 years. There were times when you'd have to use your resources. You have to use your money. You have to use your car. You have to use. So if you're not a doctor because you
really?
love it, those are things that you won't. No one can do. So I think it's a calling. I can say it's a calling, even though other people don't like that.
It's a calling. It's a calling that requires a lot of sacrifice, determination in order to succeed.
I mean, anyone who has studied for 7 years, we could be millionaires.
Okay. So what's next for you? What else do you want to achieve in your career as a doctor?
I'm still deciding. It's been 5 years, but the next thing for me is being a specialist in one field, so I don't have to do everything. I'm still yet to choose what I want to do, but it's advanced, I think. But like in the next 2 years or so. You know what happened this year, so things are a bit slowed down. But I think I should be a specialist. That my dream is to practice also medicine in a developed country. But I feel it would be better if I'm a specialist than I'm a junior doctor. Coming to the US.
Here?
You refuse to? Yes, coming to the US. Coming to the US, even if it's for a course, it's okay. Yes, there are many options. The world is my oyster. Actually, the other time I just looked at Switzerland. I was with my friend, and we realized that Switzerland is a nice, beautiful country. So
yes, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's one place you'd consider to go to.
the dream still lives on. I've not arrived yet. There's still more to
So
see.
you're still
Interview
doing.
me in 5 years.
Oh, I like that. Always going at it and never stopping, huh? So, Tati, when it's all said and done, what legacy do you want to be remembered for?
I don't have any. I think you've realized that I don't go to Botswana often, but my other parent is there, but I do go when I have time. But as time goes, when I have enough, I know enough can never be there. Maybe I'll probably have a charity and keep partnering with people like you to help with donations and go to this neighborhoods that are to encourage others that
Good.
you can
Giving
make
back
it,
to the community.
exactly, because when you don't have
I
anyone,
like that.
when society when it all looks bleak, like, and dark, when people around you are not making it, you might even think that no, this is my destiny. But if you see someone who's been in the same environment as you making it, I think that those kids can be encouraged. Donating
And that's
computers
the
to
reason
schools.
why we are telling the story. That's the reason why we are telling the story, because people can relate to your story. You come from that background, you come from that city, you come from that area. If people can look at you and say, Tati made it, then they realize that they still have a chance. We're not only talking about Botswana, we are talking about Soweto in South Africa. We are talking about some place in Zambia. We are talking about some place in Tanzania. Even in America, we got some places where you can inspire people to dream. But we want people to understand the struggles that you went through so that they can know that your way wasn't that smooth. You had to overcome certain things, obstacles. You had to use your faith, your determination in order for you to go through every obstacle. And even now, you have acquired much of your success, and your dream is actually a reality, but you are not yet done. You're still going for more because you are built that way. Then the other thing that I like so much that you brought about is sometimes you lacked confidence because you looked at where you came from, but you quickly adapted. You realized that you're not going to let your environment define who you were. You are going to be defined by who you were created to be. So you tapped into your inner faith and strength and say, hey, it's not about where I come from, it's what I'm capable of doing. So from Usabelo to Gaborone, you adapted, then you accepted yourself, your strength. From there, when you went to Georgia's University, the time you went to England. So those are some of the most important things I got from your story. You need to believe in yourself. Do not let your environment hold you down to what you're capable of doing. Now it's likely that your work is going to impact a lot of lives, not only in Botswana, across Africa and around the world. But you did not stop dreaming. Um, you said you're a mother. That's a huge part. How is it that working for you, having to navigate parenthood and also work as a doctor?
It's not easy. It's not easy, but every day is different. It's not easy at all. But as I was saying, it all goes back to determination. What is it that I want? In the past few years, I was working on something and I went for many courses, about 5 in South Africa. So that I was paying for them, financial sacrifice. So obviously there were times I had to study with the boy crying. So motherhood cannot stop us. It cannot stop us. It's just one of the things that as a woman we were built to have. So we just walk on, we just soldier on, eh?
Wow. That's some true definition of strength and determination. I don't think so. Most of us have those ability to multitask. So, what are some of the final words would you like to tell our audience today? What are some of the details they can draw from your life that they can implement in their own life and their journey to achieving success?
My last words are: you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in God. You need to believe that you have a purpose in this life. Look at the Black Panther guy who died. He had 4 years to do things that many people achieve in a lifetime. And I'm sorry to say this. I feel, even if you are going through something now, just know that it's not the end. Like, there's still more. Your situation can change in a day. It can change in hours. It can change. You can meet a totally different person in a week. So I think you should not give up. No one should give up early before they've realized their full potential. And in the end, there's a scripture that says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but in the end is the God's purpose that prevails. Mm.
That's deep.
So yeah, the plans will be
So
there, but with God's purpose, it helps with implementation of those plans. So we have to have more faith in ourselves and in God.
what about if the people really were inspired by what they heard from your story and they would like to reach out to you for advice or mentorship or guidelines? How can they reach you if you're open to that? Of course, I'm not asking guys to be asking for the number I'm talking about.
Um, no, no, they can reach me through you. I mean, I'm an open person and I answer my WhatsApp all the time. So especially those who are trying to get into medical school and they want to learn about residency and how to make it, especially those who are in the medical field and the people who are like nurses, lower cadets, but they want to become doctors. I want to encourage them and tell them it's possible. Because the
Okay.
American school that I went to, I met people who were cleaners, I met nurses, I met paramedics, even engineers who decided to become
Hmm.
doctors and they actually made it. So
Oh,
you
okay.
can still change your careers. Yeah. So they can reach me through you. You just let me know. There's email, there's Instagram,
And
there's
Facebook.
Twitter, there's Facebook. We
I've
can
got
always
I've got
talk.
her name on my Facebook page. You see her over there. You can follow her on Facebook.
Exactly. Mm.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm really inspired by your story, your journey, and thank you so much for being open to sharing it with my audience. I'm pretty sure it inspired a lot of people, and me knowing where you come from, I'm really so proud of you, and you shouldn't stop for nothing. You should keep on going because there's no limit or boundaries that anybody can set for you. So you just gotta keep going. Maybe one day you'll be this side, maybe one day you'll be the Minister of Health in Botswana. You just never know what the future
I
holds. I
hope it.
believe that this is only the beginning, but you're you not only do you have an intellectual ability to understand medical stuff, it's also your ability to relate with people on a personal level, and I think that's what molds you in a better person that you are today. So it's a great honor to call you a friend, and may you continue to inspire and touching more lives along your journey. I'll keep on watching you. So, thank you everybody for tuning in today. We are bringing you another episode of Telling Your Story with Coach Ted Divine. That'll be on the 10th of September. So, guys, I'm looking forward to having you on board, and it was my pleasure having you, Taddy, and it was pleasure having you, all the audience who are out there listening. I'm gonna sign out right now. Do you wanna say anything, T?
No, thank you for interviewing me. Thank you for getting me out of my comfort zone. I was not eager to do it.
I know you kept on saying, I don't know, I'm not gonna do it. See, it worked well. All right, we're gonna sign off and